Hello and welcome to the fifth and final concert in our summer concert series here at the United Methodist Church of Red Bank. I'm Evan Courtney, the Director of Music, and I'm so glad that you decided to join us this afternoon. Today we have for you a concert of flute, recorder, and harpsichord music from the Renaissance and Baroque eras, and it's presented by Stephen Russell, Lisa Frost-Goodall, and me. This was originally a concert that we were going to do in March, but then the pandemic hit, and so we decided to push it down the road. Two of the works are multi-movement pieces, and in between those are several standalone pieces for recorder duet, and you'll even get to hear Stephen play a very interesting and very ancient instrument called the crumhorn. I hope you enjoy, and thank you so much for tuning into our summer concert series this year.
This first piece is the Recorder Sonata in F by George Friedrich Handel. Handel lived between 1685 and 1759. He was a German composer, but he lived most of his composing life in England, writing Italian opera, and then later writing oratorios. Most people would know him for his oratorio Messiah. He wrote several sonatas for the recorder. The recorder is a specific instrument, and it was originally made of wood, and it's played lengthwise, as opposed to the transverse flute, which is played this way. To create sound, you blow air into this capsule, and then the air gets split in half by a wedge, and that makes the air in this column vibrate. This instrument is made of boxwood. The more dense the wood or the material, the more resonant the sound. Handel must have known the recorder and how to play it, because the way it's written fits very well in this instrument and with your fingers. The recorder has no keys. It just has holes, and you have to close the holes with your fingers. A modern flute would have keys that make it a lot easier to play. So the recorder is a little bit more limited in what it can do than the flute. This next segment is 10 duets for soprano recorder and alto recorder most of the time. They're all dances, or most of them I should say are dances. A couple of them are Bransle. A Branle was a French dance that was very popular in the 16th century. And it's danced by couples, and they are either in a line or in a circle. And the name Branle comes from a French word that means to shake or to wag or to sway. Another one of the dances is Allemande, and that's a Renaissance and Baroque dance. It's one of the most popular instrumental dance styles in Baroque music. Another of the dances is the Ductia, and that's a medieval dance that's similar to the Estampie. And most of them I play on the recorder. We talked about this before. A couple of the pieces are played on the crumhorn. It's a wooden instrument, and the name crumb comes from its shape, which is a crook. It looks a little peculiar. It's a double reed instrument, and inside this cap is the reed, and you don't actually touch the reed with your mouth. You blow air into the cap. There are two reeds, and then they vibrate against each other, and it has a rather peculiar sound, the crumhorn. The final piece on our concert is a trio sonata by Johann Joachim Quantz. He lived from 1697 to 1773. He was a German flutist and a flute maker and also a composer. He wrote a treatise on how to play the flute called On Playing the Flute. So flute players would be familiar with him for this treatise, but he was a wonderful composer in and above his fame for being a flute player. Frederick II, the Crown Prince, also known as Frederick the Great, decided he wanted to play the flute and he wanted to study, and he studied with Quantz. Quantz wrote over 200 sonatas, 300 concertos, and 45 trio sonatas. A trio sonata, in actuality, needs 4 players. But the word trio, it comes that it has 2 solo instruments, and then a continuo. A continuo would be a keyboard instrument and a bass instrument. In this performance, the keyboard will play both the keyboard part and the bass part, so there will be only 3 of us. The neat thing about this particular trio sonata is that it was written specifically for a transverse flute, the one held to the side, and the alto recorder that I will be playing. And they're crafted for those 2 different instruments. They sound different, they're played in a different manner, and the flute, we talked about the flute before, has keys and has a lot more options and a wider range. The recorder has a more narrow range and doesn't have the keys, so it's more limited in what it can do creatively with more complicated music. But this piece of music is written very nicely for those 2 specific instruments, and there's a lot of imitation, trading back and forth of ideas, and when one instrument is supposed to be heard with something interesting, the other instrument is doing something very complementary that doesn't cover up the other instrument.